thank you so much for being here with us. Could you please give us an introduction about yourself, your name, and a bit of your background, please?
Well, my name is Lydia Tetolet, and I'm from Kenya. I love saying that I'm from Kenya. And I'm a single mom by choice with 3 beautiful girls. And when I say their ages, people always go, really? But I started that. But I wouldn't want my daughter to do that. You know what I'm saying? You know, we don't want my children to do what we did.
Yeah.
So I've got my first daughter who's 23, and then she's going to be 24 in November. And then I have my 18-year-old, just turned 18. And then I have my 15-year-old. And they're all girls. They're all very beautiful girls.
Were they all born here?
Yes.
Which leads me on to my next question. Where was you born?
I was born in Kenya. I'm a typical Kenyan.
Okay, we love to hear it. So when did you come over to England?
I've been here for, I think, just slightly more over 26 years now. Yeah.
And what was the decision to come over to England?
Well, I'm a performing artist.
Oh, okay.
I'm a dancer, or was a dancer, but now because I'm getting a little bit older, the energy is going, so I'm left for my daughter to do that. And my big daughter, she's a replicate of mommy, so she does exactly that. But I remember I used to dance with them mushrooms, and we went to Switzerland first, and then we came to the UK. Yeah. And when I came to the UK, I was like, wow. Yeah. I'm coming back by force, by fire. And when I went back to Kenya, I started making arrangements to come back to the UK. And we've been to so many countries with the mushrooms, but this was where my heart just felt like this is second home. Because of course home is Kenya first. Yeah. And those days there was no visa, it was so easy. Just pack your bags and
and you're here.
That's what I did.
Oh no, I love to hear it, and I can see that you're doing very well for yourself, and I'm happy for you and your family.
Thank you.
So wanted to touch on a bit about back home first of all. So what was it like growing up for you back home? Like what was it like in terms of family and upbringing? Can you tell us a bit about that?
That was tough. Like I always say that my parents, they didn't give us the best, but because that's all they knew. Because I always say that you can only give what you have. So if they didn't have the love from their parents, they don't have anything to give us. Understand? So I don't blame them that my mom never said I love you, or my dad, or hugs. It was always beatings upon beatings. If you do anything, there's no talking. Like now you can even sit with your children and talk to them. Maybe give them 1, 2, 3. If they don't listen, then a hot slap on you. But with us, there was no talk. It was just a hot slap. Every minute, hot slap. Somebody breaks something, everybody gets beaten. Somebody does a mistake, everybody gets beaten. How did I break the glass? For crying out loud. So it was just beating. You fail in school, beating. So if every single person in the class is number 1, who'd be number last? Seriously. And if you take that number last, oh my God, that day you don't want to come home. So for me, growing up, it was knowing what I know now. It was horrible. But at that time it wasn't, because that's all I knew. It was normal. But later now, probably maybe coming here and seeing things, I feel like there's so much that happened that I would not want my children to go through that. And that's why even when I had my children, probably to tell you that later, I said they would never fight physically. That is something that I'd said from when every single one of them was born. Because in my family there was fighting physically, and I know it's a lot of families do that. And some people even see like it's normal, but to me that is not normal. Because your sisters and brothers, so why should you fight physically? And my dad totally misplaced his priorities. He had a very good job, but of course priorities misplaced. And again, I'm not blaming him because that's all he knew. And my mom as well, she was a very hard worker. She is she's still alive. She's a very hard-working woman. She did a lot for us, but even her, all she knew was tough discipline love. Or tough love. I don't even think there was a love. It was just I think those days Africans just have children for having children's sake, and then you just leave them without direction. You know, and there was just leaving you there to fetch for yourself. We used to look after our brother because my mom had to go and work, my dad had to go and work. So I think it was a very tough upbringing that I didn't really like looking back.
Did you ever have a conversation with them as you got older in terms of this? Because I can imagine having left the country and then going back, let's say for holidays and visiting, that you're now an adult now, you can have these conversations with them. So did you ever sit down and say like, you know what, actually the way you raised us wasn't actually right, and did you have them kind of conversations?
I've never had that with my dad because my dad is in Kenya and he's not really well. But with my mom, yes, because my mom lives in America.
Oh, okay.
So I now told my mom, really, why did you stay in the marriage? Because my dad was a very abusive husband and dad. We grew up in a very domestic violence environment because my dad was really bad. One day he beat my mom and all my mom's teeth were hanging out. And my mom had to run to the neighbor, put it back with a spoon. But again, I can't say I don't blame my dad because every time you have a choice as well. But now we're done. Now we love him, we forgave him, everything. We're grown-ups. I even sometimes feel sorry for him because I was like, I know if he knew better, he would have done better. But he didn't know. So I haven't had this conversation with my dad, but with my mom, yes, I did. And she was like, yeah, I'm sorry. She actually apologized and said she didn't know any better. Because I told her, Mom, do you know if we were born in the white man, they would have taken us long time. You'll be in the hospital having your baby popping out. They take the baby. Why did you stay? And she didn't even have a reason because she said in Kenya at that time, you go home, your mom sends you back to your husband. You go home to your mom sends you back because she said, I stayed. Why are you going? I stayed. Why are you going? So it was difficult.
Touching on something that you said during the answer there was that you said your mom apologized.
Yes.
That is very big, especially in African culture. These aren't normal things that happen.
Yes.
So is that also something that you've instilled in your own family?
I think my mom probably apologized because she's in a different continent as well now. Okay. And she sees the things
exposure
differently.
Is different,
Yeah, she's had the exposure. She's seen how children are being brought up there. She's seen different things that if she was in Kenya, I don't think she would have. She would have just said, okay. You know, I don't think she would have apologized. Probably yes, probably no. But I'm thinking a more percentage she could have just not apologized because I've not even had this conversation with my dad. Even though my dad feels bad for what he did because I know he was having a talk with my brother because I only have one brother because the other one passed on. May his soul rest in perfect peace. And he was telling my brother, don't do the things I did because I regret so much what I did. I could have loved my wife differently. I could have treated my family differently, but I failed. And don't fail your family. So I think even him, he has regrets now. But he only spoke to my brother not to follow his footsteps.
Okay.
Yeah.
So having being raised like that, how did you also want to raise your kids? Was the difference
totally opposite? Oh my God, totally opposite. I said, my children will never lack, regardless. I'd rather my children will never lack financially and also my presence. So because of what I do as a performing artist, everywhere I used to go, I would take my children with me. And because I train them so well, I'll say sit down and they'll sit down. I'll say if you make noise, next time mommy's going, she's not going to go with you. Okay? So they'll go everywhere I went with my children. They learned my skills, everything I did like drumming, dancing, doing arts and craft, tie-dye. All my children can do that. They can actually run those workshops themselves. Because everywhere I went with them. And then it reached a time where even their performances, every time my children performed, I went there. There's only one time that my daughter, in fact, at that time now she was in uni, and they performed and they came second or they didn't win. And she was like, oh, Mom, we didn't win because you're not there.
Didn't come.
Because since she was in nursery, every performance,
he was there.
I made sure I'm there. All my children. I remember one day I even got fired from work because my boss was so angry and was like, and I said, I don't care. My daughter comes first and I'm going to her performance. So every performance I've been there, everything my children are doing, I make sure I'm there because the way I was brought up and the way I also saw children in this country, they miss out so much from their parents because the parents want to make ends meet. They want to buy an aeroplane. They want to please people in Africa. They want to do. My first priority is my children. So if I have brothers and sisters and my mom and my dad, even though I love them so much, and if it means that my children have to miss out because I have to please them, I'd rather not please them. It's not worth it. Even if it's my mom or my dad, it's not worth it because my priority is my children first. They are my first family. So I made sure well, first of all, I used to say I don't want children. Even people who knew I had children were like, no, we have to see these children. Because when I was young, I was like, I would never have children.
Was that because of your experiences?
Yes, that's because of my experience, where I was brought up. I used to see the way children would suffer. Their parents would leave them. They'll be looking after their younger children. And I was like, I don't want my children to go through this, because I didn't think that I would be in Europe. So I was like, I'll never have children. And you know why? Because I said I'll never have children, God actually denied me children. And you know what he gave me? He gave me angels.
Oh no, I love that. That's
he
amazing.
Gave me angels. Because I couldn't deal with children.
No, I absolutely love that. That's amazing to hear. And I can tell that the love for your kids is literally resonating in this room, and it's oozing out of you. So one question, especially about the topics that we're covering, is mental health.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, let me first go towards you, was this something that was ever either discussed or something that you thought of growing up? And also the second question would be, is that a conversation that is raised between you and your kids?
Growing up, you're called a mad person in the streets. There's nothing like mental illness, especially in Africa. It's only now that things like that are coming out, mental illness, but it's still not really discussed. You have to be running in the streets naked for you to be mad. So things like mental illness, because they're not discussed, you can be going through it and don't even know. Okay,
very
but
true.
at least now they're trying to talk about it, but still a lot needs to be done. A lot of creating awareness regards to mental illness in Africa needs to be done. So when I was growing up, nothing like that was ever discussed. I didn't even know what mental illness is, to be honest, I won't lie. But here I talk a lot with my children about, even because we have all of them have friends, probably they know people who've committed suicide. And the first time that my daughter, I think my big daughter she was in secondary school, and one girl that joined her secondary school because she was being bullied in one school, she joined school
another one,
and just committed suicide. So that was the first time, and she was like, oh, this girl committed suicide, she goes to our school. And then we've seen a lot, even last year or this year, we just buried a boy that went to her school, but he's Kenyan, and the mom is my friend. The boy also committed suicide. So there's a lot of mental illness happening within, and I talk to my children a lot about the mental illness stuff. We talk a lot.
Wow, that's shocking, and it's good to hear that you're one of the parents that also talk to their kids, because these things are definitely very important. Another question I wanted to raise was, because I'm assuming you came to the UK alone. Was there any pressure when you migrated to the UK?
Hi, pressure or stress or depression? All of them. I almost spoke Swahili. Zote, mix and match. I mean, it was really hard, because you come to this country, because the thing is, the perception we have when we're in Africa is, oh, the white man's land, there's gold in the streets, there's money being plucked from the trees. And because when I came here first with the mushrooms.
At what age? So just to give a perspective.
If I tell you what age, you calculate, because I'm 26, and then you find out how old I am. I'm not gonna give my age away. All I've said is I've been here for 26 years. So I'm not gonna say how old I was, because then you calculate it. Oh, this old woman, what's she doing here? Okay, so when I came, I was really, really young, to be honest. And because I came with the mushrooms first, and then because I just came in, there was work, because I came to work, we came to dance, because at that time I was just a dancer. And then I thought, wow, this is good. And then the money they gave us, even though it was really little money, but that time was a lot. It was like, damn, all these pounds. And then you go to Kenya, you change them into shillings, you're rich. And I have to go back to that country. So when I came back, this is just being naive, and I think just very silly. I went back to where we performed, because I took the address down. So I went back and I was like, oh yeah, we came. They're like, this is actually a hall. A lot of people dance here, so we don't even know who you are. I was like, oh, damn. So what am I gonna do? You know. So I started as a chambermaid, so working in the hotels and blah blah blah. And chambermaid was hard. It was the hardest job. And because you don't want people in Africa or in Kenya to think that I'm just working in a hotel. I'm a maid in the hotel. I used to get my pay slip, and because their dad was in Kenya when I came here, he was still in Kenya. I'll rub where he says cleaning. Rub it, and then send it to him, and I'm like, look, this is my pay slip.
Oh my God.
I take the cleaning out.
Cleaning off.
Because you want them to think that you're really doing well.
And
now that is the mistake we're doing, because we're giving people in Africa this
false perception.
idea, false perception of what we're doing. And that's why they're always forever asking for money, forever asking and asking, because we show them a different life that we're not
living. Yeah.
We're not living. So we're like, oh yeah, this is who I am, and you're not that person. So when I came, it was really, really hard. And then because I came to a room, we were just living in a room. We were so many of us in that room. Some people are sleeping on the floor, some people, and the house was smelling because it was I'm not gonna say, but it was really hard. It was really hard. So to break through was a miracle. There is a time when I was pregnant with my firstborn, and I've never said this, especially in camera, but I've told them though. I used to actually eat from the bin.
Wow.
It was that bad. I used to eat from the bin, and then I went to the hospital. They were like, yeah, you because they they measure and everything. And they're like, your child is so small, you'll have cesarean. And the dad, bless him, we're not together anymore, thank God for that, but he was very good at that time. It was like he was crying because it was like he's failed, he doesn't know what to do at that time. He doesn't have papers to work. I don't have I'm pregnant, so nobody can hire me. So we really, really struggled. I really struggled with my firstborn, especially when I was pregnant. I was actually getting food from the bin, because when you go to the fruit where the people sell fruits, when they finish in the evening, they dump the fruits. We'll take those fruits because they're not bad. They're just good, but because it's in the evening, maybe somebody came and squashed it. They dump it. We'll take them, and then the house we were living in, subletted rooms, because we were just living in rooms. The guy, and I think God just placed him there. He used to work in a bakery, so he'll come back with a lot of bread, and you won't eat them. We'll put them in the bin with the bags. We'll go and pick them up from the bin. So it was really survival. But back home, they're still asking for money every day. They still want money. So things like that can push you to depression, and that's why you see there's a lot of suicide rate going up even in diaspora. Because that will push you, because you're thinking, I can't tell them what I'm going through.
I'm struggling,
I am struggling, and every day is send us money. You don't want to send it. People are abusing you right, left, center. Your own family is putting so much pressure on you. Some people who can't take it, they just say, I'm just better off not being here.
So then what got you through?
One day, I sometimes would go to a club. Someday we'll go to a club, and then one day, because I love clubbing. Even now I love clubbing. I'll dance with my heels until morning, and then the next day I can't walk. That's being silly, isn't it? Very
it's
silly.
It's good to enjoy yourself.
Life. Live life. But I don't drink though. But I'll still dance the whole night. So we went to dance one day. We went to a club one day, and then there was this group of people performing. Like sometimes we perform. I perform with Baker sometimes on stage. So when we were performing, and then I saw these guys dancing, and I went on stage as well. And my friends were like, "Oh, Lydia, don't go." I'm like, "Hey, me, hey, I was a dancer from Kenya." So I went on stage, and every move they were doing, I was doing, because I'm a dancer, so it's easier for me to pick steps. So when we finished, this guy came to me and said, "Wow, you were very good." Did I say, "Yeah, because I'm a dancer as well." And then he said, "Where do you dance?" I said, "No, I don't dance anywhere. I'm a chambermaid, but I was a dancer, but I don't." And then he said, "Okay, I'll give you contacts, and phone these people." So I called them, and they called me for an audition. I danced my heart out that day. There were so many people sitting down watching me. I was like, I just want to say there's nobody here. It's just me. So I danced, and they took me. The company was called Ajido Pan-African Dance Ensemble, and the group had been there for almost 25 years. It's not there anymore, but it was there for a long time until Muzungu now wanted to come and interfere, and it was closed. And that was our thing. It was an African thing. So they came, they said, "We want you to merge with ballet, we want you to," and the director was like, "No, this is a pure African thing." And they were like, "Okay, we're not going to fund you anymore," because we were being funded by the Art Council. So they stopped funding, and then they closed down. But it was there for almost 25 years, because I danced with them for 10 years. For 10 years, all I did was dance. So that's where my breakthrough started coming out, because now when you're dancing, you meeting people, networking. That's it.
So then it sounded also like from your answers that you have a great relationship with your kids, of course. Do you communicate all these things that you've been through in life with them?
Yes. They know a lot about mommy. And the good thing is, I teach my children, even though they were born in this country. If you ask them where you're from, they'll tell you they're Kenyans. Because my house, I've always told them, when you enter this house, this is a Kenyan house. You go there, it's Queen's house. It's Queensland, but here
is Kenya.
Is Kenya. So my children know they're Kenyans.
Yeah.
They'll never say they're British.
No, that's amazing to hear.
And we talk a lot.
So then, do you think that they would come to you if they had any issues and this, that, and the other as well? Because being that they're young, there's always that parent and child kind of differences. So do you think that if they were going through something, that they would come to you?
100%. But again, you know, there's some things that people always feel like, I want to keep this, either because I don't want my mom to overreact, or I don't want, my mom to go in, because anytime they tell me something, I really overreact. So they tell you that. So they're like, Mommy, we're never telling you again. We're never telling you again.
Yeah.
So, because if they tell me something like a friend did something to them, immediately the friend enters my house.
Yeah.
They will know. They will know that Auntie's different.
Yeah.
Or I'll ask them, and they say, Mommy, we didn't ask you to ask them. Mommy, next time we're not telling you again.
Yeah.
But I think like if they're going through something like really deep, they'll come to me. I have my daughter, my firstborn daughter, even when she goes out and then somebody upset her out, she's gone out, like whether clubbing or anything, she'll call me and I'll drive and go and pick her up. I don't care what time
that's
it
beautiful.
is. Yeah, I'll drive and go and pick her up, or I'll order an Uber for her and she'll come back. And so if my children are going through something, that they will come to me. But if it's not really deep, it's something that they can solve with their friends,
They'll
blah,
do
blah,
it
blah,
themselves.
probably they'll do it themselves. But if it's something deep, they will come to me.
No, that's beautiful to hear. So I guess my next and final question before we head on to the next is, how well do you think you know your kids?
Again, I wouldn't say 100%, because you only know, because I think any parent who think they know their children 100% is lying to themselves. Because you only know much when you're around them. Because when your children are out there, you don't know what they're up to 100%. But I would say I know my children really, really well. But again, I wouldn't say 100%.
All right, and on that note, we're gonna bring in the kids to talk to and have this discussion while they're here.
Okay, that's fine.